Hello everyone, welcome to Aiko's Medley. Today on the channel, we're going to be talking about protective styling. To braid or not to braid, to weave or not to weave. That is the question on today's medley. First of all, subscribe to the channel and then let's chat. So per usual, this video is inspired by a friend, as they always are, and a friend's hair was recently breaking around the edges, and her response to the breakage was to braid the hair, to go ahead and put in a protective style to help bring the edges back in. And upon further conversation, we then discovered her scalp was actually dry. So having continually suffered a dry scalp and breaking edges, her decision was to braid her hair to help get those edges back to a healthy point. Now, this is one of the things that happens to us as naturals. When we want to grow our hair back in certain points, at certain spots on our scalp, we decide the answer is to braid or to weave. I understand the reasoning behind that because we're thinking if we braid or if we weave our hair, we're leaving our hair to rest and to relax, and then it's under less pressure, and then the hair will then grow back up. But that is not automatically the case. If you think about it, when you do braid and when you do weave your hair, I suppose weaving a lot less than braid, but braids definitely put your hair and your scalp under a lot of pressure due to tension and increased dryness. So in this sort of situation, of course it's entirely up to her, and she knows her hair better than she does, but I would have suggested that you avoid putting braids in. Why? Because braids put a lot of tension. Because they are hanging and because they're being pulled to the back or to the top or the way you're styling them, they actually put a lot of pressure on your edges and on your scalp. Secondly, if your scalp is dry and you put braids in, then it's going to upset the transport system even more. Now, this is the crux of today's video, the transport system in the hair. As naturals, you know that our coil is very curly, and so that means there's a lot of kinks in there. For forces especially, there are a lot more coil. So that means oil and the moisture that you put in form of water, if you're working it from the root up, does not travel easily. It comes across barriers it's trying to get across from the root to the top of the tip. So when you add braids to that equation, you're effectively putting a complete roadblock. It means that your natural hair oils are not going to travel all the way to the tip of the strand because it's braided. Your hair is interlocked in braids. So that means that oil is not going to reach the tip, the mid to the tip of the hair, and that just means even more breakage. So think about that before you think to braid your hair when it's breaking. You're upsetting the oil and moisture transport system even more. And then secondly, when you put a weave in, it's hard to do the same. Now, I know that we can go in with weaves and spray the bottom. Actually, they are better than braids because at least you can go in and put moisture at the bottom. But then think about the lock method. The best way to moisturize your hair is the liquid oil cream or the liquid cream oil, whichever you prefer. If you put a weave in, how are you going to do the lock method? How are you going to put, you can put a liquid in, but how are you going to put oil into layer? How are you going to put a conditioner into layer? All that. So it means you cannot effectively moisturize your hair when it is in protective styles. That means over a long period of time, your hair does become dry and brittle because of the lack of proper moisturization, and that affects your length goals, and it even affects the hair at the root of the scalp, at the root of the hair. So that is something worth thinking about. If your hair is breaking, it's for probably two reasons. Outside genetics, outside medical conditions, probably it's going to be centered around moisture and protein. So you need to think about how you can add more moisture and protein instead of taking away even more. And protective styling, particularly braids, I'm going to say, does not allow you to moisturize effectively. Now think about it again. When you think moisturizing, think the lock method. Can I effectively add a liquid, oil, and a conditioner in that order, or in the other order, in the liquid cream, the oil? Can I do this effectively when I put this protective style in? If the answer is no, then the answer is no to the protective style. Should be to the protective style, otherwise you're affecting your hair goals even more. So that's something worth thinking about, my dear naturals. If your hair is breaking, do not automatically think the answer is braiding, because like I said, it could worsen the whole condition. A better way to protective style could be to figure out a way in which you can just leave your hair without extensions. So in a state whereby maybe it's cornrowed or it's twisted for long periods at a time. And that means you can do the lock method. So for example, I just took out my cornrows. I had like 2 cornrows on the sides of my hair, but that's because I'm in lockdown, so I'm not thinking about heading to an office or anything like that. So that allows me to spray liquid. It allows me to put coconut oil on the top, and it allows me to condition the top part of the hair because the inside is already, interlocked and has a lot more moisture. But it means I can reach my hair a lot better when it comes to time for moisture. So think along those lines. Don't always think to put in a protective style. And also, if you do have to put in a protective style, just don't keep it too long. I'd say maximum 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So think about it. Is it worth sitting down for all those hours to braid and to have those in for 3 weeks only? Depends on the braids. Are they tiny? Are they box braids? It really depends on all that. So have a think through that and make the wise decision for your hair. So thank you for watching. Remember, the crux of the video is, can I moisturize with the LOC method when I put this protective style in? If the answer is no, you probably should think twice about putting the braids or the weave in. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next medley.